Alrighty then, you can already tell what this is. This is What If Deku's Hashirama, or Reincarnation of Hashirama, Part 3. So, I originally did this video already, but I thought it was way too short, since it was only like 11 minutes. and I basically ran through it, and I really didn't want to have to go through a whole other arcs and stuff like that. So, this time, we're gonna be going through, the USJ again, but... So, Deku... what is Deku doing right now? Let's think. So, Deku got back. He's at home right now. He's talking to Hashirama. Hashirama's telling him, like, yeah, one of these days I'll have to train you a bit more, because you're still very far behind getting to where I was in my prime, Deku's like, really now, what could you do in your prime? And he's like, I could make a fucking giant statue with, like, 1,000 fists and beat the shit out of anyone. Deku's intrigued by this because he kind of wants to be able to do that because it sounds awesome in his head. And so, Hashirama's like, you want me to show you, basically? Deku's like, yeah, sure, why not? So basically, Hashirama shows him, like, the memory, and, like, Deku's like, so who's that other guy? And he's like, oh, that's Madara Uchiha. That was, at one point, my best friend, but something happened, and, he basically fell down the wrong path, but he got better at the end. He was better at the end, so Deku's like, alright, that's good. And I don't know if I should put Madara's, like, reincarnation in here. I really don't care. I mean, like, you guys choose. If you want Madara's reincarnation to be here, and if you want him to be a villain, or a good guy, or whatever, either way, he'll be, if you do add him, he'll be Deku's rival. If you don't, then, cool. But, so basically now he gets back to school the next day, and they're like, so today we'll be going to the USJ, blah, blah, blah. They change their outfits, they get ready to go, and they're basically talking. Basically everybody's like, can you explain your quirk a bit more? Deku's not a dickhead, so he's gonna explain it mostly. He's like, well, I use, like, this sort of energy, and I can manipulate it in a way where I make my body stronger, and I can also, summon wood, but the way I do that is I combine two natures elements that I have to make it. So they're like, so wait, so your power is actually, like, kind of like a half and half? He's like, yeah, I might have, like, half earth, half water, basically. So now Todoroki's intrigued, because that means that he combined his to make something new, which Todoroki thinks maybe he could do, which, he can't really. He can only do the thing that he did in the sports festival. Which, I watched a YouTuber call it, like, Absolute Zero, so, I just will call it that from now on, Absolute Zero, because it does sound pretty cool. So, Deku, basically, he just is like, yeah, that's my abilities, blah, blah, blah. Everybody else explains, they're like, so who do you think is the strongest in the class? Most people say, Izuku, or Midoriya, or Deku, or whatever you want to call him. But, some people are like, I don't know, Bakugo did blow off his arm, blah, 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 this and that. If Deku didn't have his, like, regeneration power, it might have gone different, Deku's like, I would have been a bit more careful if I didn't have my regeneration abilities. And then they're like, what do you mean? He's like, well, I mean, I wasn't really, going all out on him, like, and then they're confused. They're like, but, it looked like you were fighting him pretty well, and fighting him off pretty good, So he's like, yeah, but it was training, so I wasn't gonna go all out on him. That'd be, crazy. So now they're wondering, like, what is Deku's full power and when will they see it? Which they'll see it pretty soon. So they get to the USJ. They, what's it called? They tell, they basically talk to 13. 13 explains, quirks can be dangerous, blah, 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 this and that and the third. So then, Deku basically, like, Deku, he has a bad feeling, and, Kirishima's like, whoa, there's even fake villains, and, at this point, Deku kind of realizes, like, oh shit, villains are attacking, and then Aizawa says they're not fake villains, they're real. He rushes in there, he tells them not to help him, so Deku, he's shinobi, so he listens, basically. He wants to help Aizawa, but he listens to what Aizawa says, because he respects Aizawa. So, but he knows if it gets too bad, he'll jump in. So then, Aizawa's, like, fighting them off pretty well. So Deku's like, alright, maybe I shouldn't have been worried. He is a pro hero after all. I shouldn't, doubt his strength. And then they all get teleported away, including Deku. So, everybody's falling and stuff like that. Deku is about to fall in the water. And there's a shark villain waiting for him. like for when he falls. And basically, like when Deku falls in the water, he like just lands on top of it and starts running towards the boat area, which surprised all the people in the water, including Sue and Mineta. So then Deku, he does some hand signs. He's like, water style, water pool jutsu, and like he slams his hand into the ground, or not a water pool, a whirlpool jutsu. So he basically like slams his hand into the water, and like a giant whirlpool is made basically. But Deku grabbed Sue and Mineta before they were sucked into it. And like Deku's like, throw your sticky balls in there, Mineta, and Mineta's like, okay, and he starts throwing them like crazy. Basically what they did in canon, but Deku's running on water instead of jumping over it. So Deku doesn't have any broken bones because he doesn't have one for all. That's Nedre. So Deku, he got to the other side, and he's taking a little bit of a break because he did like a jutsu the moment he started water walking, which takes a lot of chakra control. Which he has a lot of chakra, so it's even harder to do that much chakra control. So Deku's like, all right, I need to take a little bit of a breather. So he stops for a second, he takes a breather, and then he sees that Aizawa is fighting off like a bunch of villains. He's like, all right, I'm gonna go help him out. And then the Nomu pops up. The Nomu beats up Aizawa, and then after that, like Deku's like, oh shit, and then he sees Shigaraki's like about to reach for Sue's face. So basically, like Deku clasps his hand together, and then just like a wood pillar shoots out of the ground and hits Shigaraki in the stomach. So it sends Shigaraki flying. The Nomu basically goes and catches Shigaraki, and then like he sees that Shigaraki sees that Deku is the reason why the wood came out, because it came out of his his arm, basically. And then Shigaraki's like, Nomu, kill that kid, So the Nomu. I get interrupted by a random caller, interrupting my damn what if. But so basically, I said that the Nomu rushes at Deku. Deku like barely dodges it. He had to start enhancing his body with chakra, so he's fighting the Nomu on equal terms. Basically, like they're going blow for blow. But Deku is only like at equal terms because he has technique over the Nomu. Because All Might didn't have technique. If All Might had technique, he probably would have beat the shit out of Nomu. But Deku's like going for pressure points. He realizes that like the Nomu isn't human, because he'll hit the Nomu and the Nomu won't even flinch and stuff like that. So he's like, either this guy has like a regeneration and like shock and like some sort of pain nullification quirk, or this thing's just fucking crazy, and it's not human. So Shigaraki's like, you can't be that thing. It was made to kill All Might. Deku here is made to kill All Might, so he realizes this thing isn't human. So he has the big scroll on his back. He basically like kicks the Nomu away. The Nomu, he tries to kick the Nomu away. The Nomu doesn't go very far. Then he just wraps it up with like a bunch of vines. So then Deku throws the scroll on the ground, rolls it across, and then he just summoning jutsu, and he gets like 2 blades out. So now he's like, all right, since it's not human, that means that it's killable. Like, I'm allowed to kill it, basically. Oh, what the fuck? Shit. So, that's not what I plan on doing. There we go. So basically, then Deku, he's just like, all right, that means I can kill it. So he rushes at the Nomu. The Nomu is still like, covered in vines, but it breaks out and it tries to like swing a punch at Deku. Deku basically like jumps over it, but he slices the Nomu's arm open, basically. Then what's it called? The Nomu like regenerates, so Deku realizes, alright, it has a regeneration, and and he did say shock absorption and regeneration, so he already knew it, basically, but he's trying to see like what's the extent of the regeneration. So he can already tell that the regeneration is better than his, because it like regenerated immediately. So Deku's like, alright, well, let's see how you fare against this. So he starts basically like fighting the Nomu and stuff like that. And like they're going at equal terms. Deku slices off the Nomu's leg, the Nomu, kicks Deku with the other leg and then starts regenerating. Deku gets sent flying, but he catches himself and starts running back. It's an epic fight. And Deku's basically like dodging his hits, slicing up the Nomu. And then like what's it called? And then like Deku basically gets the Nomu into a position where the Nomu can't really do anything. Like, cause he has like wood wrapped around his like ankle, so the Nomu tried to move its leg but then tripped. and then Deku just sliced off the Nomu's head because it's not alive, and like the Nomu was starting to like slowly regenerate its neck, but then like Deku stabs the brain, and basically the Nomu's dead. So then Deku he puts his like he just puts the swords back into the scroll, and then closes the scroll back up, and then just puts it on his back. He's like, all right, so who's next? He gets into his fighting stance, and then Shigaraki tries to rush him, but then he dodges the hand and then just hits Shigaraki with the back of his fist, like he's spinning back fist to them. If you get that reference, you're a good person. If you don't, it's fine. Uncultured swine, but it's I'm not gonna tell you. So then Shigaraki's sent flying. Kurogiri catches him in the portal and basically teleports away. Some villains are still standing, so Deku's just fighting those villains off. He couldn't really get to Shigaraki because of that. And so all the villains are defeated. All Might busts in. He's like he's angry, but nobody's there to fight because everybody's knocked the fuck out. So Deku's like, I got them all. He's just waving. He's like, I got them all, don't worry, All Might's like, oh, well, shit, Basically, like, All Might's, okay, well, he basically got him, I guess. So, then, like, Hashirama's like, you did a good job there, kid, but, we'll have to work on your fighting style a bit. I saw a few things that, you could have done better. Like, he threw a few kicks harder than he needed to. He threw a few punches lighter than he needed to, basically stuff like that. So, then Hashirama, Deku's like, alright, Hashirama, in his head, because he's not trying to look like a crazy man. So, after that, Deku just heads back to the UA. UA is still talked about for, like, how their students were attacked by villains, so they still have to take, like, 2 weeks off, and during this 2 weeks, Deku's either training or hanging out with Nejire. That's basically, like, his entire 2 weeks, and, Nejire was worried about the USJ thing, but then, they hear about how Deku, like, single-handedly, like, mostly defeated the villains with Aizawa taking out, like, the other half, but like, basically, like, Deku is, like, talked about, like, yeah, this kid is hero material, blah, 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 this and that. Deku, he's thankful that all these people think this way. He's like, thank you all. That's so kind of you. He spreads this light across the room. I didn't say that, he was amazing, but he is amazing. So, he's like Keanu Reeves. He's like, you're breathtaking. But, like, he's like, so, everybody's like, wow, this kid's amazing. He's hero material. Basically, like, Night Eye thinks that this guy could be the next symbol, because he just brings this light into the room, because he's watching on, like, the news and stuff like that. So he isn't, like, he wasn't even mad at All Might to begin with, because Mirio said that he didn't want the quirk and that he should give it to Nejire. So, basically, that's how that goes. And then Deku's just chilling out with Nejire, they're hanging out, Deku, he decides that, even if he pulls a Danny Green and, does awful, he's still gonna shoot a shot. Oh, God, I don't even like basketball. It's just my friends. But, he decides that, he's gonna go for it. He's not gonna be a Danny Green. He believes that he's gonna hit a shot. And, he's like, so, you wanna go on a date? Like, he just goes for it. He's like, you wanna go on a date? And then, Nejire's surprised about this. She's like, that's, out of nowhere. He's like, well, yeah, but it's just, I've liked you for a little while, so I thought I might as well just ask. So she's like, yeah, of course, it'll be awesome. Like, basically, like, he's like, he smiles, but, like, on the inside, he's like, whoa! Like, he's celebrating. Like, Hashirama, he's in there drinking sake with Hashirama. They're like, well, I got a date, Stuff like that, And then, like, Hashirama's like, revival of the Senju clan, baby. Just making jokes. Like, and then, Deku's like, the Senju clan, because Hashirama did tell him his last name, but he didn't really know that they were, like, a clan. So he's like, yeah, the Senju was a clan, blah, blah, blah. There were ninja who were pretty strong, but then there was a Senju genocide. And, there was only, like, one left who was, like, his granddaughter, and she didn't really have any kids. And then, Deku, he's a bit depressed now, but he still got his date, so, it's another world. Deku is like, either way, Senju clan is on their way back now, So, Deku, Deku, he's half thinking about changing his last name to Senju. He's half thinking about it, but his mother would wonder why, and he doesn't want to explain that to her yet, at least. So, Deku, he's like, alright, well, I'll see you later, He basically, like, runs off, because they were at, like, the beach while he was training and stuff. So Deku, he runs off, he takes a shower because he was sweating, because he does, like, crazy fucking workouts. And, he gets ready for his date. Deku, then, he's wearing something nice. Nejire's also wearing some, like, nice casual clothes. Both are wearing casual. So they go out, they have fun. They watch movies, Nejire wanted to watch a romance. Deku really wanted to watch this movie about gambling, but, Nejire was like, no. So Deku, he buckled. So he watched the romance movie with her. And then, after that, they went out, Deku basically was like, let me show you a magic trick, right? And then so Deku just basically, like, popped a flower out of his hand, because I'm going to say he can do that. He just, like popped a flower out of his hand, and he gave it to her. He's like, a rose for the lady, We'll say, what's a blue flower? I don't know any blue flowers. You just imagine, just search up, like, beautiful blue flowers. And he gave one of those to Nejire. I know, he's like, it matches your hair, basically. And she likes it. So he's like, alright, well then I'll be heading off. And stuff like that. So he takes her home, and then he leaves. And then Deku just like, alright, that went pretty well. He was nervous during the whole thing, but he didn't really show it. So Hashirama was like, you did great, kid, Like, that's, you did better than me, even with my first date with my wife. Deku was like, you were married at one point? Like, he was like, who would marry you? And then Hashirama was like, what the hell does that mean, Blah, blah, blah. He basically, like, talks about his wife, who is, I forgot her name, but she was an Uzumaki. I know that much. And, he explains the Uzumaki clan. And, Deku's, like, intrigued now, because the Uzumaki clan are, like, the senju, like, they're, like, the side branch of the senju, basically. Not, like, the side branch, but, like, if the senju had, like, a clan that would basically, be just like them, it was the Uzumakis, because they had high chakra reserves. They were good at ceilings, which I don't know if the senju were. I know that Tobirama was pretty good since he created the Flying Raijin. But, like, he just explains that, they had Kege Genkai, like, called chakra chains, and it kind of worked with, like, his wood style, but not in the same way, because they could absorb chakra and stuff, while he just, drains the person. He can also absorb the chakra, but not to the same extent that, the Uzumaki clan could. So, Deku's like, wow, that's pretty cool, stuff like that. But, he's been training for a while, so now he can make, like, a wood golem, but, like, it's the size of All Might, so it's pretty small compared to what Hashirama could make, because he could make a fucking massive one. So then, Deku basically, like, alright, well, that was pretty fun. So, after a while, Deku just heads to, what's it called? Deku just heads home, and, yeah, that's where I'm gonna end it, since, I promised someone I'd made part 3 today, and I completely forgot. So I'm sorry to you. But, this is part 3. I hope you guys liked it. If you didn't, too bad for you. I'm joking. If you didn't, tell me what you thought I should change up a bit. And, yeah. Oh, speaking of one more thing, what's it called? I need you guys to help me out, because, there's an issue that I faced, alright? It's for the Shazam What If, alright? I'm conflicted. One person said, night eye, or what's it called? Not night eye. One person said midnight, and another person said female Kaminari for the ship. And I don't know what to do. I'm conflicted. Alright. Another person, like, 2 other people said Nejire, but Nejire is already for this ship. Already for this one. So I was like, I basically told him I already did it for this one. I told one of them that. The other one I didn't really comment to. Sorry. But, you guys tell me what I should do. You guys tell me what you feel like would be good for Shazam. But, yeah, other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If not, I don't know what to tell you. But, yeah, bye-bye.